Coming to you from the wide world of sports complex in Walt Disney World, it's the 2020 NBA playoffs. Have you ever wanted to see what trying to maintain the integrity of a bubble in the middle of a coronavirus hotspot looks like? That's what we're going to find out. What shenanigans will we see in the coming weeks? Who's going to be the first to break the sanctity of the bubble? Who will pull a Rudy Gobert and ruin everything again? Who will win the NBA championship, which everyone will probably put an asterisk on? That's what these teams are going to find out. Either way, we're probably fucked. You can proudly say that your team is no longer one of the bigger shit shows in basketball. At least for now, there's still plenty of time to fix that. Devin Booker being an endless trade rumors to a certain team in Cali are a start. I mean, at least you're here. It's honestly a step above what you usually are. Doesn't solve your shitty ownership situation, but yeah. This team is so bad on defense that they couldn't even stop Rashawn Holmes from compromising the bubble for some goddamn takeout. The team isn't a total grease fire this year, but chances are that they'll be going home faster than their former announcer got axed for trying to dunk on Boogie Cousins. Unfortunately, doesn't help that Harrison Barnes is Lerona. He'll be okay, but the Kings need all the help they can get. All for the right to get their asses kicked in the first round. At best. I'm disappointed. I expected much more out of the Spurs this season. Then again, with how battered LaMarcus Aldridge has been, I can't really be surprised by that outcome. Speaking of which, as DeMar DeRozan looks at Toronto bitterly for last year's success, they're yet another team clinging on to the bubble for dear life. Is it a bad thing if I'm more worried about Greg Popovich's health than I am about the playoff chances of the team? I mean, Pop isn't exactly a spring chicken, so protect them at all costs. The future is here. The NBA is absolutely desperate to try and pimp out their newest show horse in Zion Williamson. Think of all the money they could make with them making the postseason. And everyone else on that team, too. Look at Alvin Gentry risk his health to coach the legend that is Zion. There is promise on this team, but the key here is the future legend that is Zion. Yes, he may be dealing with another injury and left the bubble to deal with a family matter, but nobody will mention anything besides Zion for the remainder of the year. That's just how it goes. You're fucked if he doesn't come back. I'm purely disappointed with how the Blazers have performed so far. Even with their penchant for coming up just short in the end, I was expecting a much stronger regular season from them. Hopefully getting Yusuf Nurkic back will aid them in the paint to complement Hassan Whiteside. Endless articles about how Carmelo is in the best shape of his life paint the image of an underdog that's eager to go up against the Lakers and probably get their asses kicked because we're all fucked. I hope to God that the Blazers do win, though. Damian, how would you like carrying this team for another decade? John Moran is pretty good at this basketball deal, don't you think? It's only that he near single-handedly brought this team back from the precipice to hold a playoff spot at this point in time. That will probably be good enough for the basketball gods to gift them with the dreaded prize of the 8th seed. Then you get thrust into a fighting pit to be eaten alive by the sarcophagus monster known as the Lakers. Hey, many teams will be dying for that honor. Consider it an achievement. Luka Doncic is also pretty good at this basketball thing. In fact, you can make the argument that he's a potential face of the franchise. Going from Dirk to Luka, not bad at all. With Porzingis as his wingman, it's a formidable foe for the future. Just don't think it's this year. The Willie Cauley-Stein experiment got canceled early, and Dwight Powell suffered the dreaded torn Achilles. This is learning experience here, which means you'll suffer a first-round playoff defeat, and you will like it. Today we will find out if a team of Oompa Loompas can rally to win an NBA championship. Small ball is upon us. No centers, but endless three-pointers as far as the eye can see. This is the Mike D'Antoni tree. Well, it would be if Russell Westbrook didn't get infected with coronavirus. Even for their failure to launch this season, get it? His question mark is a burning one. James Harden chooses to protect himself with a mask, but it's one in support of the police. James, nobody cares if he just thought the mask looked cool. It goes against popular opinion and must be quashed. There are no exceptions here. How? I expected you to outright fall apart after, well, the fact that you blew it all up this past offseason, but perhaps miracles can happen. CP3 was standard CP3, but the emergence of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander makes it all the better. Now you're not only competitive for the present, but have all of that sexy draft capital for the future. You know what could make this even better? That snitch hotline the NBA is set up. I can see Chris Paul now. Hello, I'd like to report a violation. James Harden brought in strippers and chicken wings again. You should put him in quarantine. Quickly, everyone, we need to spread more rumors about the allegedly damaged relationship between Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. It doesn't matter that they're apparently cool with each other, we need to manufacture the drama. Don't worry, basketball media, the Jazz have enough of their own drama to deal with. Losing Bojan Bogdanovic for this run is a brutal blow for their long-shot championship ambition. All you can hope is that Gobert develops the Midas touch in quarantine and turns everything into gold, even the opposition. A solid gold defender can't move, you know? If you were to look at Nikola Jokic today, you would think that he had shed skin in the league's suspension. The man melted. True, Jokic did deal with a bout of coronavirus, but things seem to be okay on that front. They'll need him at full strength if they have any chance of competing with the big boys in Orlando. We all know who I'm talking about. Then again, the Nuggets have their own issues to deal with. Jokic took a bit to finally arrive in the bubble. They're at least lucky on that front. He at least is here, unlike 3 pieces of their rotation. Oh god, it's gonna be another disappointment, isn't it? Hawaii is our only hope. He did it once, he can do it again. It is our only chance to once again save the NBA from being fucked. Think about it. The little brother eternally picked on for shitty ownership and teams. The whole not making it past the second round thing. You can finally end it here. Yes, the Lakers were able to rest up and they'll be looking to do the usual thing with the Clippers, but you are stronger, younger, edgier. Now, only if Montrezl Harrell isn't kept out a while with his family issue, I'd have more confidence. But considering how weird things are this year, it could be the least of their worries. We figured we were all free after the Warriors fell into the precipice. The NBA would no longer be fucked, we all thought. All it did was awaken an even more insufferable giant. It's not even a well-designed or developed roster. It's LeBron, the Unibrow, Kyle Kuzma, and a bunch of ring chasers. Then again, you don't need much in the NBA to thrive, so that explains a good bit. Their issues at this point are at guard. Avery Bradley's not here, but John Rondo's injured, and they got so desperate for depth that they brought in Dion Waiters and J.R. Smith, the gruesome twosome of the reefer. Doesn't matter in the end, though. Everyone knows they're going to rig it for the Lakers to win it all because of Kobe. Perfect storybook ending to a calamitous season. The ensuing levels of self-importance and entitlement will consume LA in a deadly smog and then sink it into the Pacific Ocean. No matter what happens, there will be 2 words we'll hear. You're fucked. You're Let's take a quick gander at another team hanging on by a thread. Brought in for the mere reason of having even teams, and they weren't truly eliminated from the playoffs yet. They'll be perfect fodder for their opponents. And before you ask, this is even considering if they still had Bradley Beal. He won't be here. You're fucked. Well, home court advantage? It is in Orlando, you know. Markelle Fultz doesn't even look half bad if you ignore the part where he was once a highly touted prospect. There isn't even much drama as there was in the era that will never, ever be discussed by Magic fans. Be glad you even made it here. Most of the time I'm going to do some low-grade snark at how forgettable you truly are as a franchise. Except the fact that the Eastern Conference is a shit heap and deal with a first-round exit to Milwaukee or Toronto. Are the Nets even going to have a team in Orlando? We're not even talking about missing KD and Kyrie, those were expected. Coronavirus has eliminated the appearances of DeAndre Jordan and Taurean Prince and Wilson Chandler and Spencer Dinwiddie. The Nets are so desperate that they're bringing in Jamal Crawford and Michael Beasley as scabs to replace the no-shows. Hold on, I've just received a message that Michael Beasley also has coronavirus and will not be joining them. All that's left at this point is Karis LeVert, half of Jared Allen, and some cans of funny string. Might be able to help them beat the Wizards, though. Charles Barkley called them the Cleveland Browns of the NBA, but that's an over-exaggeration. The answer there is obviously the Knicks. Likewise, the Sixers are a combination of unrealized potential and a mishmash of 3 completely differing visions. It's almost as if failing to sign the player you needed to, but instead signing an aging excess good that's on the decline wasn't a good thing. I couldn't be more shocked at the result. It's a critical point in their juncture, but there are doubts if they can truly get it done. Too many points where they fail to maintain momentum. In an effort to shuffle things up, Ben Simmons moves to the 4, so his reluctance to take jump shots will be less noticeable to the public. Now we get the might of Shake Milton, hell of a basketball name manning point guard. Don't tease us, how are you going to falter this time around? The Pacers are a cursed franchise, there is no argument on that front. Despite being less than optimal, losing Victor Oladipo for the remainder of a year is a blow that the team may not be able to recover from. But wait, in Pacers fashion, they find a way to reel you back in. Oladipo is still practicing with the team and may have second thoughts about returning. You may have what could be your best player back. With him wreaking havoc with Sabonis and Turner, it's a nightmare matchup. In theory, that's all they have at this point. Sacrifice everything so Oladipo's knee is at full strength. Bam Adebayo. What could be the greatest homegrown Heat player since a little guy by the name of D-Wade came onto the scene? That's also to add with the Jimmy Buckets doing his usual Jimmy Buckets thing, without calling everyone else he plays with a lazy piece of shit. They're more of the hidden dark horse of the Eastern Conference. Not many are expecting them to come out of it, but with a few right pieces and moves, they can somehow shock us all. They even got Andre Iguodala for the Orlando tour. He's not prime Iggy, but he's still serviceable. When he's healthy, anyway. I'd be more bullish on them, but you know that's the kiss of death. I'll stop now. I'm so sorry, Heat fans. I don't know what the hell to think of the Celtics. On paper, you can make the argument for them being a championship contender, you know, with Kemba, Tatum, and Jalen, but they always fall flat. Shedding Kyrie was a blessing for both the fan base and the team as they mesh better as a cohesive unit. But they are always missing that piece or two to truly get them over the top. In 2018, it was missing Kyrie due to injury. In 2019, it was due to a combination of Kyrie being active and a lack of anyone else showing up. I keep hearing about their potential, you know, the great gifts of Billy King, but time is starting to run out on that promise. It's put up or shut up time. Now do it. Who needs Kawhi? Glad you didn't make that trade with OKC yet? Pascal Siakam has emerged as a legitimate stud as the main on this roster. That and continued improvement from Van Vliet, that's also a plus. The only thing really missing from this year's roster and last is pretty much Kawhi. Sadly, that might be more than enough to have them on the outside looking in. At least you have a ring to be comforted by. I can't tease you with the banal joke about how you do nothing but choke come playoff time anymore, so there's at least that as well. Also, Canada's doing pretty well with the coronavirus. And Masai Ujiri isn't going anywhere. See? Positive! All good until the inevitable elimination. Once again, I don't know how they're going to do it, but they'll disappoint everyone in their typical style. As much as they would love to get Giannis playing at the 5 to achieve their wonderful small ball, the answer there is probably in the Lopez brothers. Small ball also doesn't work if Eric Bledsoe isn't going to be around anytime soon. Coronavirus is a bitch to get cleared from, you know? I'd be more worried about the endless recruiting pitches that Giannis will get from other players in the bubble. A super team with him on it would look really, really tempting to a team or 20. The real answer to that question is to win a championship now before the Greek Freak ends up breaking your heart eventually. Just hand the trophy to the Lakers. You know you want to. Then we can all bitch about how the NBA is fucked yet again. As we deal with the incredibly insufferable entitled Lakers fans running everyone else out of the building. You slayed one monster only for another to potentially emerge. We're fucked.
You get one miss.
You get one miss.
You get one miss.
That's a 50. That's a 50.
That's a 60.
Hey, Eric Gordon, he'll win. That's what I'm talking about.